Hello everyone and welcome back to the final episode of our week-long trip across Iceland. This video will encompass everything we experienced on day 6 of the trip, as well as a quick visit to the capital Reykjavik and the Blue Lagoon before our flight home on day 7. Now the last video was a very exciting one, so I'd absolutely recommend that you check that out before watching this one. We explore eastern and northern Iceland for the first time, seeing highly popular destinations like Hengifoss, Stulagish Canyon, and the mighty Gudafoss. There's a lot that went down on day 6 as well, starting in Kríalish. Kríalish is a really cool geothermal area where you'll see steam vents, mud pools, and my personal favorites, fumaroles. Fumaroles are openings in the Earth's surface that emit steam and volcanic gases such as sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. They can occur as holes, cracks, or fissures near active volcanoes, hence the location of this place right by Mount Námafjall. Something that I was pretty blown away by is how the steam coming from the fumaroles almost spiraled together into the air. You can't really tell in the videos I captured, but that was a really cool experience. And as a whole, this is an absolutely awesome place to view geothermal activity. I'd highly recommend it. Just 10 minutes away, don't miss the little Krafla caldera. There's quite a few of these calderas in the area, but this was by far the easiest one to access as you can park right alongside the crater. There's a short little trail that circles the caldera until you can get a really cool aerial look at the perfect turquoise water. It should take no more than 20 minutes to experience, and it's a little something to tack onto your itinerary for the day. A place I knew we couldn't miss since we were driving right by it is Gudafoss, which can be found an hour drive away. Both Gudafoss and Gudafoss from last episode are situated in the northern part of the country and are sometimes nicknamed the Beauty and the Beast. Gudafoss, being the most powerful waterfall in Europe, is of course the Beast in this situation, and Gudafoss, which is the much more quaint and elegant waterfall, is the Beauty. Admittedly, I didn't have Gudafoss on today's itinerary until the night prior because I had no idea it was such a prominent waterfall, and it would have been a shame if we missed out on it because it actually turned out to be one of my favorites in Iceland. To see it, it's a short walk from the parking lot where you'll travel across a beautiful pedestrian bridge and right past a secondary waterfall, a lower level if you will, called Geothermal. To me, this one was less of a waterfall and more of a drop in the river, but still very pretty. I think what impressed me the most upon first impressions was the watercolor of this place. We've seen lots of different colors making up the rivers in Iceland, but none that have been quite this turquoise. It almost looked fake. It was pretty amazing. Then once you get to Gudafoss, I mean come on, it doesn't get much better than this. The height is only 39 feet tall or 12 meters, but it's the width of 98 feet or 30 meters that really steals the show here. It almost reminds me of a miniature horseshoe falls on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. Per usual, you have your rainbow because this is Iceland and all these really cool vantage points you can get from up above or down below. I'd absolutely say this is a must stop in northern Iceland. I was pretty impressed by this place. Our next destination was a place we were going to visit at the beginning of the trip, but eventually moved to the end of the trip since we sort of extended the trip and needed to jump ahead of schedule to make that work. If you're confused, check out episode 3, I really explain it there. But as a result, we essentially forced ourselves into a 5.5 hour drive today from Gudafoss to Thingvellir National Park. Today would be our last opportunity to see the park, so we went for it and ended up with a little over an hour to explore. The drive there may have been long, but we were keeping ourselves busy by listening to like random Watch Mojo lists, and occasionally these pockets of crazy fall colors would pop up in these little trees and bushes, which was amazing. As we came within a half hour of the park, visibility got really scarce and it even started to rain quite hard. We weren't sure how our short stay at Thingvellir National Park would play out, but whatever the case, we went for it.
Well, this definitely was not the visibility I was expecting.
We were excited, albeit not surprised, to see maybe 3 cars at the visitor center parking lot, which was great because this is routinely one of the most highly attended places to visit in the entire country. Thingvellir National Park is one of 3 Icelandic national parks, as well as a UNESCO World Heritage Site that can be found right along the Golden Circle. It's a fascinating place because of its unusual tectonic and volcanic environment in a rift valley. The continental drift between the North American and Eurasian plates can be clearly seen in the cracks of faults that traverse the region. The largest example, Almannagjá, are the significant rock formations here that basically form a veritable canyon. The consequences of the erosion of the Earth's crust can be seen every which way, making this an incredible, almost real-life history exhibit. From the visitor center parking lot, there's a trail that follows the aforementioned Almannagjá, which gives some fascinating looks at both the rock formations and the colorful landscape around the park. In the distance, you might also spot Thingvellir, the largest natural lake in Iceland. Something cool that you could do here, which I'd love to do the next time I visit the country, is scuba dive or snorkel in between these tectonic rifts, and the visibility is supposedly insane. I'm not really sure what the cause of it is, but some will tell you that this lake provides snorkelers and scuba divers the highest underwater visibility in the entire world. It's also so pure that if you are snorkeling and scuba diving, you can easily take sips of the water at any point with no problems whatsoever. We chose to follow the main path from the parking lot for about 1.3 miles until we reached the park's only waterfall, Gudafoss. Interestingly, this waterfall was partially human-made since the river it comes from was moved hundreds of years ago into a ravine where it could provide water for the members and visitors of the Icelandic parliament in the 9th century. When the river eventually changed paths, the rest of the dirty work was handled by Mother Nature, and that's why we have this beautiful waterfall flowing off of the tectonic rock formations to this day. It's not particularly huge, only standing 42 feet or 13 meters tall, but it's still a gorgeous waterfall and a magnificent complement to the rest of the park. To wrap up our day, we drove off to Iceland's capital, Reykjavik, to get our first look at the most iconic building in the entire country. The 244-foot or 75-meter tall church that you see on screen is easily one of the most beautiful churches I've ever seen in my life. It towers over the rest of Reykjavik, which is a gorgeous capital city in its own right.
It's official. Iceland's the best country.
We spent the night and following morning soaking it all in, and as much as it was amazing, it was also rather sad as it really did feel like the trip was coming to an end. But there was one last place on our itinerary before flying back to the US, and depending on who you are, it may be a little controversial. The Blue Lagoon is a geothermal spa conveniently located in between Reykjavik and Iceland's main airport, Keflavik International Airport. It is widely considered to be the most popular tourist attraction in the country, so I made sure to enter with expectations that it would feel that way. However, I was pretty impressed by how it was being maintained and managed, and the atmosphere as a whole. It is pretty expensive, usually ranging at around 8,990 Icelandic krona or $63 US. But there's no way we could pass up the Blue Lagoon, especially after hearing so much about it. The water feels amazing on your skin and it also looks amazing, and they actually offer free silica mud masks here as well as other mask varieties available for purchase. The way these work is you leave them on for about a half hour and it helps clean the skin. It's pretty cool and not something I was expecting before visiting the Blue Lagoon. Ultimately, a question many first-time visitors to Iceland ask is whether or not the Blue Lagoon is worth the visit, and certainly I'd say you should try it once. It's not at all one of my favorite spots in Iceland, and although subjective, I do know that many act like it is the best, and I just don't understand that. But if you go in with the right expectations, I'm sure you'll have a very pleasant experience here. With that being said, that's going to wrap up our 2022 Iceland series. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed making it. Iceland is a country that meets and exceeds all expectations. Truly some of the most otherworldly landscapes our planet has to offer. If you've ever thought about taking a trip here, definitely do it and use these videos as your guide. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Travel Dash for more content like this in the future, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys.